Well, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Game on Hay. We're at pretty much the halfway stage of the Super 12s groups in this World T20 in the UAE, and things are building up very nicely. Plenty of games are now very, very important to all the sides playing. We've got two more games today, of course. It's a double-header today, so let's tell you what the games are today first. And in this Group 2 match, first of all, it's Afghanistan against Namibia. That's the game that will start in Abu Dhabi at 3 o'clock this afternoon, live on air here. And the second game later on from Dubai at 7 will be actually a game that decides possibly who gets into the semi-finals, and we'll talk about that later. But that's India against New Zealand. So that will be the crunch game of the day. Let's just introduce the panel for you here today as well. Starting on my left, Rashid, Latif, Umar, Sana Mir, Sir Viv Richards, and Aaqib, Javed. Don't worry, we appear to be one short, but that's not anything serious. Nothing to worry about. We have all the information, all the expertise that we need in the studio here today. So, Sana, let's start with the first game of the day, Afghanistan against Namibia. The Afghans have been exciting. They've been entertaining. They've come close to some special victories, but they've not really quite put the points on the board. They are actually second in the group.
Yes, because of that net run rate. And I just say that we cannot take this Afghanistan team lightly, because if they can win against Namibia and they can cause another upset, then in the next big game, either New Zealand and India, we will be talking about them also a potential to go for the semis. I mean, it's still. I mean, of course, it's cricket. On paper, of course, New Zealand and India are the other two teams apart from Pakistan, but this Afghanistan side played some really good cricket the other day.
If we look at the points, if we just check on the points table, if we can do that, because it's actually quite an interesting setup here, because the top of the tree, okay, that's this. By the way, this is the other group. This is Group 1. This is where England are 3-3, and where the competition is building up between South Africa and Australia. But if you look at this, this is the group we're talking about here today. This is Group 2, where Pakistan, and obviously everyone in this studio, delighted to see they had 3 wins from 3 matches. So they are top of the tree. I'll put this into context as well, because they're going to play Namibia and Scotland. So if they don't end up with 10 points top of the group, something very seriously wrong has happened. Afghanistan on 2, but they've still got to play, that's 2 from 2. They've got to play Namibia today, India and New Zealand. So yeah, today is their best chance to get a win. Namibia, let's not worry about them too much. They're an exciting team, deserve to be here. They've qualified by playing great cricket, but they are in a different class in this group. Now, New Zealand and India, this is why the second game of the day is fascinating, because New Zealand against India, once they've played each other, New Zealand play Scotland, Namibia, Afghanistan. India play Afghanistan, Scotland, Namibia. So you'd expect 6 points from those games, which would mean one of those teams is going to be 6, one of them is going to be 8 at the end of today's game, the second game today, and that will decide who goes through to the semi-finals. So that's why the second game of the day is such a crunch game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite an interesting World Cup from here. We have seen some very close matches, and we are expected to see close finishes also.
Okay, well, let's talk about this first game, Afghanistan, Namibia. Go to our left first, go to the left wing, the speciality here. I'll leave this to you, Sana, to orchestrate.
So, Rashid bhai, Afghanistan, Namibia, overall, Afghanistan ने जिस तरह की क्रिकेट अब तक खेली है, ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम नहीं करना चाहिए Namibia को.
हाँ, मैं प्रीवियस मैच पे जाऊँगा कि अभी हम देख रहे थे, पॉइंट्स टेबल देख रहे थे, उसमें सेकंड नंबर पे तकरीबन है. अगर पाकिस्तान का मैच जीता होता तो ये क्लियर नज़र आ रहा था कि ये सेमीफाइनल के लिए क्वालिफाई कर सकते थे. तो बदला लेने का अच्छा तरीका था हमारे पास, लेकिन लिया नहीं. यहाँ पे बिल्कुल अफगानिस्तान में 1-2 जो कमियां नज़र आ रही हैं वो ये पूरे थ्रू आउट द टूर्नामेंट रहेंगी. एक मिडिल ऑर्डर, एक प्लेयर की कमी है. अब इस मैच के बाद असगर भी नहीं होंगे क्योंकि उन्होंने रिटायरमेंट ले ली है, और एक फास्ट बॉलर दौलत जदरान शायद टीम के साथ हैं या नहीं है. उनकी आखिर की रिवर्स स्विंग बहुत अच्छी है, तगड़े बॉलर थे, उनको नहीं आजमाया गया. तो ये, लेकिन इनके पास जो स्पिनर हैं मेरे ख्याल से इनफ होंगे इनके नबीबिया के खिलाफ. राशिद खान की बॉलिंग हो या मुजीब या नजीब या नवीन, इन्होंने बहुत ज़बरदस्त. लेकिन आज कोई सेंचुरी तो बननी चाहिए. अबू धाबी मैच है, गुलबाज है, जाज़ाई है, शहजाद है, इंटरटेनिंग क्रिकेट खेलते हैं, हर कोई देखना चाहता है इनको। अगर हम लोग पाकिस्तानी अगर देखें, अगर पाकिस्तान के बाद किसी टीम की हम देखना चाहते थे, वेस्ट इंडीज़ की देखना चाहते थे क्रिकेट, लेकिन आजकल के दौर में हम अफगानिस्तान को देखना चाहेंगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही बात है। उमर भाई कुछ ऐड करेंगे आप इधर?
जी बिल्कुल, जिस तरह आप लोगों ने अपने डेविड के साथ डिस्कस किया कि स्टिल अभी चांसेस हैं इन तीनों के, अगर कोई न्यूजीलैंड और उसके मैच पे बड़ा डिपेंड करता है, तो स्टिल अगर इनमें अफगानिस्तान में कैपेबिलिटी है कि एक आध अपसेट कर सकता है, जिस तरह इनकी बॉलिंग एक कंडीशन है वहाँ पे, जो स्पिनर इनके खेल रहे हैं। आई थिंक आज मौका है उनके टॉप ऑर्डर के पास कि वो जाके ब्लास्ट करे, अच्छी इनिंग्स खेले, और जो उनकी जो डोमिनेशन है, ऑल्दो अच्छी क्रिकेट खेल के आ रहे नामीबिया भी, लेकिन अफगानिस्तान को एडवांटेज है कि लाइक अगर आप उनकी बैटिंग देखें और बॉलिंग देखें तो काफ़ी अच्छी टीम नज़र आ रही है ऑन द पेपर। और आई थिंक मे बी कि आज उनके पास बेंच पे है हसन बैठा हुआ है, जिस तरह राशिद भाई ने कहा कि उनकी बॉलिंग जो डेप्थ की बॉलिंग है, हसन बैठा हुआ है, एक्सपीरियंस लड़का है, पेस पे उसका अच्छा है, पास में भी अच्छी परफॉर्म किया। लेट्स सी उसकी अभी रिसेंटली फॉर्म किया है। एक और लड़का है फरीद अहमद, आई थिंक लेफ्ट आर्म है, तो मे बी कि वो एक आज चेंज करे, और ये पॉसिबिलिटी है आज के मैच में।
Thank you. The Urdu panelists are basically, they are suggesting that Afghanistan, there's only one issue in the batting, the middle order, and now Asghar has announced today that he will be retiring from T20 cricket after this match. So that will even deepen up the lack of experience in the middle, even though they have really good players at the top, and then one fast bowler. That they are missing, because their spinners are great, they are world class, but even though with these things, Namibia, playing a match against Namibia should not be an issue, and they are expecting a big century today in Abu Dhabi, at least one big century from Afghanistan batting.
Wow. Straight away a century.
I mean, Abu Dhabi, of course, is possibly the best pitch in the tournament. So Abu Dhabi maybe is the best chance for someone to finally, as it were. I know we've had a lot of low scores, and most of them seem to have been, it feels as though they've been in Sharjah, but we saw, for instance, last night in Dubai, England, when they batted, could have made 200 plus. That would have, if they'd had a target, or maybe they could have made a lot of runs. Abu Dhabi is normally the better pitch, we think. So yes, there is a chance.
I mean, look, Zazai, Shahzad, the teams who strike earlier, only then you have a chance of putting a big total on the board. So mostly the teams are struggling. 6 overs meant for the big hits, isn't it? There's no one outside the ring, and mostly the teams are struggling. I don't know why, because if you play a cricketing shot, not slog, there are chances to cross 30-meter yard circle, isn't it? So I think Zazai, Shahzad, if they strike, if they play 6 overs, only then your desire, sir, may come true.
This sounds like a fairy tale. This is the story. I'm not going to pick a fairy tale. I don't know how they work in this part of the world. Vivi, of those men, of those batsmen, how much have you watched Zazai bat?
Well, I enjoy watching him.
But how much have you seen him?
I've seen him a fair bit.
Yeah.
And he looks like an individual who thoroughly enjoys what he's doing and just have fun. And what I like about him, that he's an individual, he's a risk taker. Whenever he gets the chance, he's going to give it a go. As you can see, he's got a lot of muscle. So I think he's going to use some of those muscles to get to what he would like to accomplish. Yeah, and he strikes the ball really well when he hits it. I mean, when you say someone's got a lot of, the other guy, the other opener, Shahzad, has a lot of weight. No. It's not all muscle, I don't think. But he's got talent, and he's got. If he gets the weight into the shot, let's put it that way. Or put some body into the shot.
Thank you. That's probably the better way of putting it.
शहजाद का ये हुआ कि स्कॉटलैंड गए थे 2010 में, जब मैं कोच था अफगानिस्तान का, तो मुझे इंस्ट्रक्शन बोर्ड से आई कि शहजाद का वेट कम करना है कीपिंग में ना। तो थोड़े दिन मैंने 15-20 दिन कराई, तो उसकी परफॉर्मेंस पर असर पड़ गया। तो आया मेरे पास, है तो कैरेक्टर नीचे गिरा, परफॉर्मेंस नीचे आया। बोलते राशिद भाई देखें, वेट मेरा ऊपर जाता है, मेरी परफॉर्मेंस ऊपर जाती है। मैं सोचा, मैंने कहा करो, वेट बढ़ा पहले। अगले मैच में 217 हमें चेज करने थे। करीम सादिक था, और ये 10 विकेटों से मैच जीते, दोनों ने सेंचुरीज कर दी अगेंस्ट स्कॉटलैंड में। तो इनका जो माइंड सेट है उनके साथ चलना पड़ता है, आप प्रेशर नहीं डाल सकते इनके।
So Rashid bhai, he's sharing his experience of coaching the Afghanistan cricketers.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
saying that you have to go with their mentality. You cannot force anything on them.
Yeah.
So they were visiting Scotland, and the board asked the coach that you need to get his weight down a little bit. So they tried a few days, and then he came and told the coach, Rashid, the moment my weight gets down, my performance gets down. So I need to increase my weight. And that's what he did, and then scored a century.
Well, that is the perfect way to do it. Let your actions speak louder than anything else, words or training or fitness. I mean, and actually one important point I would suggest is it's actually rather rude to make fun of people who are maybe not as slim as, you know, Viv or, you know.
No, don't put me in the picture.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, well, you look at
What about
the
yourself?
Well, I've put a bit on since, you know, playing days. But you look at the athletes, you look at the slim fellas, the athletes who can really move. I mean, they're great, and there's a lot of really good athletes. But people like Shazad are characters, but they're effective. If you get 100, that is what the team wants. And I'm just thinking back to 50-over World Cups. Who's the guy you got a West Indies off spinner?
That guy.
What's his name again?
That guy.
What's his name again?
Aaqib?
No, the big guy. Come on, the big guy. Come on.
Off spinner, the off spinner.
Aaqib. Viv, he's from your part of the world.
What?
What
Aaqib?
period of time are you speaking about?
No.
Oh, is that Ashrinas?
No, Cornwall.
Raheem Cornwall.
Cornwall, yeah.
Yeah. More like a linebacker.
Yeah,
In American football.
Yeah, but he's a.
But he
He's
gets
a
the
good
job.
off
He
spinner.
gets the job done.
And my favourite was Dwayne Leverott, wasn't he? Bermuda, the what's
Yes.
he called?
The
The
left
fridge. The fridge.
orthodox spinner.
Do you remember, and he took one of those brilliant diving catches. Do you remember at somewhere, wherever it was, World Cup about 8 years ago, probably.
He's from USA.
And he sort of fell over. Was he?
No, he's from Bermuda.
Bermuda. But he sort of.
So David,
He either dived
are
or
you
fell over.
promoting this culture? Because I had a problem earlier when Pakistan, previously the first choice of the World Cup team was, and there were one or two same issues. I had criticized them because when you're representing international level, and if you have a choices, make the good choices, and make good examples.
We also had Phil Simmons, who was a little bit on the heavy side, and he used to give it a tongue. But the most important thing, if you can get some result, why change them?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, I'm a big fan of allowing the talent to do the talking.
And in that way, cricket has been quite inclusive. I mean, it doesn't differentiate between heights and weights and physiques. It's a sport where other sports you have to be a certain way, mostly. But in that way, cricket has been quite inclusive.
Well, thank heavens we're not talking about rugby. We have to be about 25 stone to qualify. It's a very different game. Okay, back to the relative merits then of these teams. I mean, it's a very strong batting lineup. Top three for Afghanistan. So Zazai, Shazad, who you just talked about, talented. Gurbaz, who
He's very talented.
looks, and he's an athlete.
And I think, you know, where they actually have a problem with Asghar Afghan and Kareem Jannat. I still believe that Mujib, Zadran and Gulbadin, Nabi, Rashid should elevate. I mean, Nabi is a very good batsman. He should be going number 4 or number 5. And Najib Zadran, he's good.
Najib.
Yeah, and even Rashid. You haven't played any
आकिब इनको
cricket,
शॉर्ट ऑफ
isn't
लेंथ पे प्रॉब्लम है, न्यू बॉल पे इसलिए नहीं जाते, नजीब हो जाए या नबी हो जाए, शॉर्ट ऑफ लेंथ पे
But I
प्रॉब्लम
think
है।
in UAE
बॉल जब वो
pitches-
पुरानी हो जाती है ना, फिर की बैटिंग करने के लिए आते हैं।
UAE pitches, slow, I think they should use
खौफ होता है, वो
their
UAE
best-
में खेले या पर्थ पे
because they have the experience of, they have the confidence. They've been playing all around the world. In Australia even, I've seen Nabi few innings. So I think they should send their experienced players up to the order to just tackle the situations and make big
बुल
runs.
बता रहा था कि इनकी फिटनेस लेवल बहुत लो है अफगानिस्तान की।
आई थिंक उनके प्लेयर्स की जो ओवरऑल मैंने देखा भी है और जो मैंने असेस भी किया है, क्योंकि ऑन एंड ऑफ ये विजिट करते रहते हैं, पाकिस्तान आते रहते हैं, लेकिन उनके जो एक कल्चर है ना वो फिटनेस का, वो उस चीज़ को इतना फॉलो नहीं कर जितने दूसरी कंट्री के। मेरे ख्याल से उनको अपने फिटनेस पे अगर काम करे और अच्छे ट्रेनर वगैरह ये हायर करे तो मे बी इनके परफॉर्मेंस और इनहेंस हो सकती है। پوٹینشیل ہے ان میں, ٹیلنٹ بھی ہے, لیکن جو چیز لے کر رہی ہے وہ اینڈ آف دا ڈے وہی ہے کہ فٹنس. اگر آپ اوور آل ٹیم کی دیکھیں, لاسٹ میچ میں اگر آپ دیکھیں تو آپ کو صرف وہ ایک گلباز لڑکا ایسا تھا کہ وہ ہر جگہ پہ آپ کو دوڑتا ہوا نظر آ رہا تھا. باقی اگر آپ دیکھیں پوٹینشیل وائز دے ہیو پوٹینشیل, لیکن اگر آپ انٹرنیشنل لیول پہ آ جائے تو ان کی وہ فٹنس نہیں ہے. یہ تو T20 کرکٹ لے گا, یہ جاتے ہیں لانگر ورژن میں یا دوسرے ایسوسیٹ کنٹریز کے ساتھ کھیلتے ہیں جس طرح نیمیبیا ہوگی یا اسکاٹ لینڈ وغیرہ, تو ان باقی ٹیموں کو ان پہ ایڈوانٹیج ہوگی فٹنس کی.
راشد بھائی آپ نے کوچنگ کی ہے ان کی, تو
10 سال پہلے فٹ تھے سارے وہی ہیں تقریباً,
تو اس میں یہ لوگ ڈسپلن کی طرف آتے تھے یا را ٹیلنٹ پہ بلیو کرتے تھے؟
را ٹیلنٹ پہ کرتے تھے, اور اس میں کچھ پلیئر تو اتنی زیادہ ٹریننگ کرتے تھے. اب ٹائم ہو گیا, اب 10-11 ایئرز ہو گئے, وہی پلیئر کھیل رہے ہیں. اصغر جیسے یہ ابھی تک کھیل رہے ہیں. لیکن سمیع اللہ شنواری شاید اسکواڈ میں ہوں گے, وہ بہت بہترین بیٹسمین ہیں. 2015 کے ورلڈ کپ میں اسکاٹ لینڈ کے خلاف 85 رن کیے تھے, لیکن راشد خان کے بعد آنے کے بعد ان کو سائڈ پہ کر دیا ہے. وہ بھی رائٹ آرم بیٹسمین ہے, لیکن وہ ایز اے بیٹسمین اس ٹیم میں فٹ ان ہو سکتے ہیں. تو اصغر کی جگہ اگر وہ آتے ہیں تو بالنگ بھی ساتھ میں وقت پڑنے پہ بھی کر سکتے ہیں.
راشد بھائی جو ہم فٹنس کی بات کر رہے ہیں, ایک ریزن تو یہ تو نہیں ہے کہ یار یہ جو پلیئرز ہیں ہر جگہ پہ ہر لیگ کھیل رہے, T20 موسٹلی کھیل رہے, 4 اوور کی آپ کے ایکسٹریم نے
3 سے 4 پلیئر ہیں ورلڈ وائڈ کھیل رہے ہیں. راشد ہو گیا, نبی ہو گیا, مجیب ہو گیا. اب ان کے اسٹینڈرڈ کو یہ میٹ نہیں کر پا رہے وہ, اور ان کو دیکھ رہے ہیں ضرور ہیں یہ لوگ, لیکن ان کا جو اسٹینڈرڈ ہے بہت ہائی ہو گیا ہے. اب ان لوگوں کو چاہیے کہ جو ان کے پاس کوچنگ اسٹاف ہے جیسا فرینچائز میں ملتا ہے اس ٹائپ کا ٹریننگ کے لیے ان کو لے کے آ جائے. نو ڈاؤٹ ان کے پاس لانس کروزنر ہے, ان کے پاس شون ٹیٹ ان کے پاس موجود ہے, لیکن ٹریننگ کے لیے شاید کوئی ایسا نہیں ہے جو کہ ان کو ٹرین کر سکے آف سیزن. ابھی تو ورلڈ کپ چل رہا ہے, لیکن ان کی جو آنے والی بریڈ ہے لائک فیوچر میں جو پاتھ وے ہے انڈر 15, 17, 19, وہاں پہ ان کا فٹنس کا بالکل ہونا چاہیے. جیسے ان کی فیلڈنگ میں ایکسپوز یہ لوگ ہو رہے ہیں اپنی فٹنس کے اوپر, بالکل بیک کرتا ہوں. عمر نے جو بات کی بالکل ٹھیک ہے. کرکٹ 1-2 پلیئر چل جاتے ہیں, لیکن 8-9 آپ کے فٹ نہیں ہے تو T20 سروائیو نہیں کر سکتے آپ.
لیکن اس میں ایک چیز اور بھی ان کے اگینسٹ جا سکتے ہیں انفارچونیٹلی. ان کے جو ملک کے جو حالات تھے, جو کنڈیشن ہیں, موسٹلی یہ اپنے ہوم سے اوے کھیلتے ہیں یا ان کے جو کیمپس بھی ہوتے ہیں, تو ان کو اتنا ٹائم نہیں ملتا کہ یہ اپنے فٹنس پہ کام کرے یا ایکسٹرا سکلز پہ کام کرے, یا جس طرح آپ نے بات کی راشد کی یا نبی کی یا مجیب کی کہ یہ جائے اور اپنے ملک میں وہاں پہ کیمپ لگائے. جو ان کی جو ینگسٹر ہے کہ وہ ان سے جو نا یہ نو ڈاؤٹ یہ ان کے رول ماڈل ہے, لیکن یہ وہاں پہ جائے اور اپنا جو ان کی جو فٹنس کا پرفارمنس کا جو ایک ٹرینڈ ہے وہ ان کو بتا سکے. تو میرے خیال سے یہ بھی ایک انفارچونیٹ ہے ان کے ساتھ کہ اپنے ہوم پہ نہیں کہ نہ کوئی فیسلٹی ہے.
So the important point what Umar has brought in that Afghanistan is basically playing on their raw talent. I mean their fitness levels are not at par with the rest of the countries. I mean not the associate ones but the top nations. So even though they have the skill and talent, but they can improve on the fitness, and one reason can be because there's an instability in their own country and the kind of practice that they might want the whole team to go through, they cannot do that.
I must admit the 2 words of Urdu I understood were raw talent. That was the that came through, but it comes through. It does come through. And while we're on that subject and the politics and the rest of it, the region, just the sheer numbers available to Afghanistan compared to, say, India, Pakistan. India's what, 1.4 billion or whatever it is now. Pakistan, 200 million, I think, the population, something like that. So you have a lot of potential for new cricketers or cricketers to come through a system, whereas Afghanistan, of course, as we know, have made the most of what I guess have to be described as relatively limited resources.
I think if you look at the Afghan team's progress, that is the only team I've seen progress, cruising at the top level. They can threat anyone. They can. The other day, they shown the talent which they have. I think this team, a little bit, stability back home, and they have started playing the first-class cricket. This team, after like 3-4 years, the next T20 World Cup. Few years back, they just wanted to participate in the World Cups as associate mindset. This year, they wanted to win. And I can see after 2 years, the next World Cup, they will reach semis. Even now, they can threat any team because they just need a one more fast bowler because they have 3 outstanding spinners and they have one decent Naveen as a medium pacer. They just need one fast bowler and a little bit middle order batting or Gulbadin. I don't know, he's a very talented all-rounder, good batsman, proper batsman. They should use him number 4.
Yeah. I mean, Viv, the next step up is to beat one of the major nations. And they do have the chance, the way these group matches are looking. India and New Zealand are their last 2 games. Now, okay, normally, current circumstances, you assume that India and New Zealand would both be strong enough because they have stronger squads, stronger teams. But it only takes one performance, as we've said many a time, one performance special to cause an upset. So that's their big chance in this tournament.
Well, for the little time that they've been into international cricket, they have taken some scalps because I believe personally that what you would have said earlier in connection with where they're at now, before they just wanted to participate, have fun and enjoy themselves. But when you look at the players that they would have produced, world-class players, it's a sign that they're taking some baby steps towards what they would like to achieve in the future.
Well, they're taking baby steps, they're taking big steps, they've got a lot of big steps still to come. Let's just check on the heads-to-heads, the recent performances of these 2 teams, just so we get a bit of a clue as to where they're at. The latest results, okay, a loss and a win in respective terms. But they, in terms of today's game, you'd say, okay, Afghanistan, as we've said, Afghanistan are the form side, they're the better-looking side. But we will, of course, talk about the strengths of Namibia as well, who have some fascinating players. They've played some great cricket over the last few weeks, first of all to qualify for the Super 12s and the way they've started the Super 12s as well. So we'll be right back after this break and carrying on our preview of today's games.